Times of India itself had broken that the government was considering Dr. Tharoor a day prior to this official communication from Kiran Rijiju ji to Rahul Gandhi ji and Kharge ji. When you know about it that this was going to happen, and obviously Dr. Tharoor is extremely experienced. He nuanced India's position with gravitas. He's well learned, he's qualified and equipped, and he's an asset to both the nation and to the Congress party. In my limited opinion, it was a blunder not to put his name in there. His name should have been there along with the other names. You knew that Dr. Tharoor had made a great impact globally. The government was also looking forward to his role, and the government would have anyways nominated him. So why not do it rather than get into this skirmish with the government at this stage?
Do you believe that Rahul Gandhi got it wrong?
I do believe firmly that he must look at some of his advisors or people in cross proximity. He's a political analyst and a well-wisher of the Congress party, because a lot of these people are not capable of winning a classroom election in kindergarten. This kind of arrogance from those who can't win a classroom election about a 4-time Lok Sabha MP, and to troll him, I think does not behove the Congress. These advisors are so left of center that they're not in touch with the nation. And the nation today, Aditi, is in no mood for Porsche poverty, for Mercedes Marxism. That is over.
Hi, you're watching the Times of India, and today we are joined by Tehseen Poonawalla, a congressman at heart, but holds no official position in the party that we know of. Tehseen, I want to talk to you about Operation Sindur and the response of the opposition, especially the Congress party so far. Do you think it measures up?
Thank you so much for having me here. And before I answer that question, let me just congratulate our brave armed forces, particularly our Air Force and the government of India on Operation Sindur. Just for your viewers to understand, I don't think in recent air warfare history, the world has witnessed something like Operation Sindur, what happened on May 6th, running into May 7th, early morning. The best of Indian aircrafts, the best of Pakistani aircrafts, Chinese aircrafts, in a dogfight with each other, marking each other, 1.5 hours of intense battle. And in a space of 30 seconds that we managed, 24 missiles that we left on Pakistan, each hitting the target and destroying the 9 targets we set out to destroy. It is unbelievable. In recent memory, the world hasn't seen such an Air Force battle, and all of our pilots came back home unharmed. That is brilliant. And then to top it off, the next day we had the Lahore air defense system down. And please remember what we did on May 6th, running on to May 7th. We did it without seeding. Seeding is suppression of enemy Air Force defense systems. So we didn't seed it. We didn't put the Pakistani air defense system down, because had we put it, then Operation Sindur may or may not have been that successful. So with their radars on, we took off. We had a dogfight and we destroyed the 9 targets. Next day, we put the Lahore air defense system on. And then the rest of it is history. We hit Noor Khan, we hit deep into Rawalpindi, Lahore, Karachi. It is phenomenal what we've achieved. But that night of May 6th is unbelievable without a single casualty. So hats off to the armed forces, particularly the Air Force.
Absolutely. You get goosebumps even when you think about it. And more importantly, the message that has gone out to the world as that sure, India is a victim of terrorism, but no longer are we going to sit back and just remain victims. We're going to hit back, hit where we want, and hit fast. But coming back to my question to you, and about the opposition, especially the Congress party's response, initial days, now, does it measure up?
So I think that the Congress party responded and the opposition responded brilliantly, as we all do in times of crisis. We all come together as one. Starting from Pahalgam, we must never forget that the starting of this was Pahalgam, and the cause of Pahalgam was Asim Munir's that hate-filled speech that he gave, separating Hindus, Muslims, justifying 2 nations, which followed by Pahalgam, where 26 innocent Indian Hindus and 2 other Indians, tourists, were killed on the basis of name, religion, kalma, and checking their pants and IDs. So we must never forget that that's the cause of what happened in Operation Sindur. Congress, like all opposition and the government, were united. They were brilliant into what happened, and we were united as a nation. I think all of us forgot all our sub-identities. There was one overarching identity, that of an Indian, and we were all under the tricolor. To take it further, what's happening now, I think people like Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Manish Tiwari, they are articulating the nation's sentiment and the country's voice and the opposition's voice beautifully and brilliantly.
You spoke about Shashi Tharoor, therefore, I'm going to come to that issue that has become a political hot potato. Is this multi party delegation that the Indian government is sending to various countries? What is Congress's problem with the government nominating Dr. Shashi Tharoor for one of these delegations?
I do believe firmly that once the government did ask the political party for the names, then the government should have gone with those names. But Aditi, like Times of India itself had broken, that the government was considering Dr. Tharoor way before this, a day prior to this official communication from Kiran Rijiju ji to Rahul Gandhi ji and Kharge ji. So
Okay.
when you know about it that this was going to happen, and obviously Dr. Tharoor is extremely experienced. He nuanced India's position with gravitas. He's well learned, he's qualified and equipped, and he's an asset to both the nation and to the Congress party. In my limited opinion, it was a blunder not to put his name in there. His name should have been there along with the other names. I am for not one minute taking away from the other names that were there. They were all worthy names. But I think Dr. Tharoor should have been incorporated and he should have been put by the Congress, particularly if you look at it politically. You knew that Dr. Tharoor had made a great impact globally. The government was also looking forward to his role, and the government would have anyways nominated him. So why not do it rather than get into this skirmish with the government at this stage?
So the outreach delegation, which the Congress party, the names that they had were Anand Sharma, Gaurav Gogoi, Syed Nasir Hussain, Raja Brar. Of course, what's your response to these names? You said you were okay with these names, but probably Dr. Shashi Tharoor's name should have also been there in the first place.
Maybe Dr. Tharoor and Manish Tiwari would have been an ideal choice for me. But I mean, whatever the party decided, I do believe that Dr. Tharoor does have the bandwidth, the gravitas, the expertise. Very importantly, the international stature, the media presence, the command over vocabulary globally to sort of lead a delegation. So it fails. I fail to understand why Dr. Tharoor was not part of the delegation nominated by his own political party. And again, I'm saying I am not a BJP supporter. I'm not a BJP voter. In fact, I passionately stand against what the BJP stands for. But at a time of national crisis, we must all unite under the common banner of the tricolor.
Do you believe Rahul Gandhi got it wrong?
I do believe firmly that he must look at some of his advisors or people in cross proximity. He's a political analyst and a well wisher of the Congress party. I would think that because a lot of these people are not capable of winning a classroom election in kindergarten. So, or even an election in the building of the society. So the problem with that is that Dr. Tharoor is a four-time Lok Sabha MP. When you dismiss him off, and not just dismiss him off in camera, and dismiss him off with a very arrogant body language. I think, well, I'm just making these gestures. It does not behove the grand old party. This is Nehru's party. This is Mahatma Gandhi's party. This is Vallabhbhai Patel's party. This is a party where these great men that I just named, Maulana Azad's party, had several differences amongst themselves. But they resolved it with decency. They resolved it without arrogance. They resolved it accepting another point of view. You would never see Nehru doing this. You would never see Gandhi doing this. So, this kind of arrogance from those who can't win a classroom election about a four-time Lok Sabha MP and to troll him, I think does not behove the Congress. What is the Congress? Aditi, very often I've had the honor of joining you on various discussions. The
Hmm.
grand old party was like a large tent where every point of view was accommodated, accepted, debated, and the Congress took the centrist point of view. Let me push this a little further. It was like Ma Ganga. Everyone could come in the Congress, right? I'm not making a religious comparison. I'm just saying
Yeah, I
everyone.
agree.
The Ganga's open for everybody, and we can all take a dip in the Ganga,
Hmm.
irrespective of where you came from. It didn't differentiate. So the mother party was so beautiful that it accommodated all points of view, and then took a centrist point of view. So you had a Madan Mohan Malviya ji, you had the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji, slightly right of center. You had the Nehru ji, slightly left of center, and then you had the centrists in the Congress, and then the centrist point of view came out of that journey. Today's advisors are so left of center that they're not in touch with the nation. And the nation today, Aditi, is in no mood for Porsche poverty, for Mercedes Marxism. That is over. along with people who tend to be associated with the organization. So I think that
Hmm.
is not the way to go forward. We must return as an organization to being the centrist nationalist organization. Ultimately, what was the charge on the Congress earlier on, Aditi? During independence movement, it's a Hindu nationalist party. That was the charge on the Congress.
Exactly.
So we can't become a left loony party.
Right.
Leftism is flying across the world.
A lot of Indians do feel let down by the manner in which several Congress leaders over the last several days as spokespersons have questioned the valor and operational efficiency of the Indian armed forces. Now, you said that Rahul Gandhi's advisors are to blame, uh, partially maybe, but how do you justify, let's say, Rahul Gandhi today? He attacked the last several days. We've seen him attacking the foreign minister Jaishankar on the alleged prior sharing info with Pakistan. And our DGMO himself has said that we did try to call Pak DGMO after bombing the terror camps to make them understand that we had just hit their terror camps and not their military sites. So why politicize this?
There are two aspects to this. Number one, it is there is no doubt in my mind and into all of our minds, because after what happened on that historic night of May 6th, leading on to May 7th morning, the Indian government, through its, I'm not sure if it was to the Ministry of Defense or to the External Affairs Ministry, you may fact check me on that one or you may correct me on that, but to one of the ministries did put it out publicly for the world to see that we did hit Pakistan, but only the terror camps. And therefore, we gave Pakistan an off ramp not to escalate this. We
Exactly.
put out the locations. Like I said, 24 missiles, all 24 hit their targets. 9 targets that we had set were all destroyed, including Azhar Mahmood's hideout, including the others where we saw the US designated terrorists in the funeral, leading the funeral along with Pak generals. So what we hit, and for the world to see, were terror camps. We never hit any military installation. We never hit any civilian places. We were very clear, and we put that out both, I presume, through the hotline to DGMO and through the world to know, and Pakistan would have got that information. I think on the what yesterday what Rahul Gandhi ji was trying to convey, what I thought he was trying to convey, uh, and I can speak about yesterday, was Dr. Jayashankar's bite, which I think could have been slightly open to misrepresentation. However, now that the clarification has come 100%, my political opinion, my political advice is, some things you just let go and let go of it, because you know what, fine, we have questions that's been answered by none less than DGMO, and I think we should let go it. Because for me, as an Indian and as a voter of the opposition, the biggest story today is these rats in Pakistan, and pardon my French, actually attempted to hit the Golden Temple with a missile.
Exactly.
That to me is unacceptable. Can you imagine, Aditi, the catastrophe of the Golden Temple of Ma Vaishno Devi's temple would have been hit with a missile? Can you imagine how the government of India would have had no choice but to escalate this? And now we know that they had left what is the Shine missile, which are nuclear capable. It wasn't a nuclear missile, but they had left that on India.
We had that.
Can you?
Yeah,
Yes. And this is told to us by none less than the army today, by the armed
absolutely.
forces. They put that out and they put out that evidence. Can you imagine what Pakistan was trying to escalate it in? When I visualize myself in government and I'm briefed by my NAC or by my armed force, my army chief or my chief of the armed forces, that there is a missile heading towards India, a ballistic missile, which could or could not be nuclear. My presumption is it is nuclear. I would have to take the action. For the government to actually be calm in this position and still offer Pakistan an off ramp, because this is frightening. They hit a missile on Golden Temple. This is unacceptable. This is a Lakshman Rekha they crossed, a very thick Lakshman Rekha that they crossed. And that makes my blood boil.
And yet there is Mr. Gandhi who's, again questioning that how many jets were lost.
What machinery is lost or not lost, I think, and I speak simply as a person on the ground who interacts with lakhs of people per day, I don't think to citizens that is of prime importance. I think the only thing important to us as citizens, as we the people are, and Aditi, you feel free to add in here, is have any of our heroes been hurt or have we suffered casualties? As long as everyone's come back home, and we now know Operation Sindur was super successful, we had no losses, all our heroes came back home. I think that's all that matters. What was our ammunition or machinery that is lost, hit, or not hit, I think is secondary. In my opinion, are important questions that must be raised. But I would suggest these could be raised in the Ministry of Defense or the Parliamentary of Defense meetings, or you could easily ask the Air Force Chief to come over and see you, and you can ask them off the
Absolutely.
record. These are not, in my humble
Isn't
opinion, not public opinion. Look, when I visualize myself as a leader of opposition, when I sit and visualize that, um, I would pick up the phone, ask the Air Force Chief to come and see me, and ask him to brief me, which is a legitimate thing in a democracy for the leader of opposition to do. Or I would pick up the phone and speak to the NSA and say, if you could come and see me and over a cup of coffee, you could brief me on it, which can be off the record. Or in the Ministry of Defense, you could have that, or the Parliamentary Committee of Defense, you could have those briefings, or have the Air Force Chief come over and brief the Parliament or the Parliamentary Committee on that. That's what I think is how I see myself handling it. Others, how they handle it is different, but I see it differently.
after 2024 elections, Haryana, Maharashtra, Delhi won by the BJP, sorry, the NDA. I won't call it the BJP, just Jharkhand led by the JMM led UPA. The 99 seats edge from the general elections has waned away, but there seem to be no learnings. What will it take to get the party, the grand old party, back in the right in the saddle?
I think the Grand Old Party should introspect. Exactly a year ago, because we are in May now, Aditi, and exactly a year ago, the Grand Old Party made a stunning comeback. Almost 99 seats, end of May, June, when the results came out.
Yeah.
Exactly a year ago, the Grand Old Party, after those results in June, was set to sweep Haryana. Post this, the assembly defeat in Haryana were the municipal elections for the mayors. 10-0 to the BJP, 9-0 to the BJP, one independent, one in Manesar. She also joined the BJP. She was the BJP rebel. 10-0 to the BJP. Maharashtra, the Grand Old Alliance, was about to sweep it. It's hurt it. I think one of the takeaways for the Grand Old Party, and the alliance would be to not only get its act together, I think to stop making statements that people don't like. For example, one of the reasons for the losses in Maharashtra was a gentleman called Sanjay Raut. He routed the alliance. Every morning he would talk rubbish, he would talk nonsensical things. And even yesterday, the kind of statements he made about the all party delegations and MPs as being tourists, I think was a terrible statement, insulting the 26 or 28 people who laid down their lives in Pahalgam. I
26.
think 26, yeah, plus the others, right? So it's a terrible statement to make for somebody like Sanjay Raut to do that. Even on the to continuously make these kind of statements to push it. Today, what Yusuf Pathan said, I think was terrible. You don't have look when I'm called. I am not Congress or BJP. I am not Maharashtrian or Marathi or Hindi. I am Indian first. My overarching identity is Indian. Everything else is a sub identity. My religion, my caste, my state, my language is a sub identity. The identity is Indian. When you're called to serve, when you're asked to go on a delegation, period. Yours is not to question why. Yours is but to do or die. For Yusuf Pathan Saab to reject that, in my opinion, is a terrible thing to do. Terrible. You just, when your country calls you, you just go. You answer the call. You don't think about it has to go through this protocol or that protocol. So to me, those are mistakes that they are being making, and it's not right. It is also important. Sorry, I'll just take 30 seconds more,
Hmm.
because on a couple of interviews I've been asked that, listen, why do you need a token Muslim to go? And I come from the minority community. I come from the most minority community, the Aga Khan. So amongst the Muslims, I'm the most minority in this country. My
Hmm.
population is as much as the Parsis. I'm the absolute minority. It is important to go, even if it's tokenism, because India is a genuine democracy where everyone has a fair chance. We are not a perfect democracy. We have our flaws. Democracy is always
Sure.
work in progress. But somebody like me, who is a minority Muslim, who's prosecuted in Pakistan, has a fair chance in India. And therefore, it is important that the Muslims and the minorities go and put out that word to the world community. Imagine the Golden Temple was targeted by a missile. Pakistan keeps saying that, listen, there is a genuine demand of Khalistan. All these snakes who want Khalistan, including Pannu, are quiet today. Imagine the most sacred land was targeted by Pakistan. And what was their idea? Their idea was somehow to make India show that India targeted Amritsar. That is
Hmm.
the evil design. So it is important that the Sikhs, the Christians, the Muslims, the Hindus, all of us as Indians, the Congress, the BJP, the TMC, the SP, go together and put out a united message in front of the world. If I just take 10 seconds more, may I say? We know Pelgam happened because of Hasim Munir. We know Hasim Munir is the Hafiz-e-Quran. He's the only Hafiz-e-Quran army
Hmm.
general of the Pakistan, which means he's learned the
Right.
Pak Quran Sharif. We know he made a hate speech. Yet you won't find one Pakistani criticizing him. They all united, including actors who've come to India and have
Absolutely.
benefited in India. I am I am not wo unka mulk hai. They are people I don't appreciate, but I appreciate this about Pakistan. That look, in that time of crisis, they all united behind their army chief who created a hate speech. We must learn this because military warfare, we are ahead of Pakistan. Cyber warfare, we are ahead of them. Economically, we are ahead of them. But misinformation, Pakistan is 20 years ahead of India. And they are ahead because they manage this. It's time for us to do it for our motherland.
Wow, and thank God for the valor of our armed forces and our missiles and our air defense systems that sort of did away with these missiles that were heading towards the Golden Temple. Otherwise, who knows how or where this would have gone and what sort of a narrative Pakistan would have spread, isn't it?
That's true.
But thank you
This
so
is a
much.
thank you, Aditi. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much.